he's at work. So I need to validate that I actually available to come hang out with your girl. Come hang out with your girl. Come hang out with your girl. Okay, there we go. I said a few. There we go. All right, so I am live in both places. I'm going to give it a second and say, and then TikTok is as always first in the building. Alafia, they're always grateful to see TikTok show up first in the building. So I'm going to give this just another second, give another few people to pop on in, hang out at the live. Um, so what I will say is that tomorrow I will be going on to live to do my O'Shea. So tomorrow is O'Shea Ola. So I will be back live doing veneration on tomorrow morning. And it's probably going to be around 8:30. I won't be at 7:30. It's probably around 8:30. So you can still, if you have not been into one of the live veneration sessions before, you are more than welcome to come and join in on the live. Tomorrow, you can come join via the Zoom, or I will have the live up and available via TikTok. So really excited to come back live again. The last live was super beautiful. Alafia. Super live was really beautiful. But today, I wanted to share, I got inspired. So before I begin, Alafia, everybody, I am Ianifa Owini Adina Zulusimi for Omi Shango. I am Ianifa in the East Asian tradition here in the African American diaspora. And I was having a conversation, and if you can hear my children in the background, they are fine. They're having fun, and I am not harming them in any way. They're just loud. But they're running back and forth doing the things that boys do. But last night I was having a discussion with one of my godchildren, and we were discussing just some of the healing and deconstruction work that they were still going through. And this had me thinking about my relationship with God. And so we were going through the Odu, and the Odu that we were going through was Irete Ope, so Irin Tekbe for short. And so we're going through this Odu, and one of the stories within the Odu talks about someone getting a blessing. So the short version of the story is they are going to receive a blessing. They're going to receive a blessing, and when they receive this blessing, all of life's ills will be transferred to someone else. All of life's ills are going to go to somebody else. Any sickness is going to be pushed to someone else. Loss is going to be pushed to someone else. They only got through like maybe one or two before they stopped reading. And so then I was like, what's wrong? And they said, when they hear something like that, when they read something like that, they got an ick feeling, like, well, what's going to happen? Who is this going to go to? Who's going to be harmed? If this illness is leaving me and going to someone else, what if this goes to a kid? So I stopped them and I said, this is not the religion of the angry, wrathful, vengeful, I'm going to destroy a whole city, all the kids included God. That deity, that God does not exist in ATR. And so once I got her to understand that the feelings that she was feeling were not associated with Olodumare, but they were associated with their relationship with God from their previous religion, they were able to take a breath. And I said, keep reading. So as they continue to read the time, they realize all these things, all these negative things, this loss, this lack, this illness, all these things, they're going to their enemies. All this loss, this lack, this illness, they're going to evil people. It's not going to people doing good. It's being passed on to their enemies. So then it's like, okay, well, and I'm like, the message for her was not about what was being released. It was about her feeling at the moment that she saw this was how her blessing was going to manifest. you were ready to push your wrestling away. You were ready to push away your erase because you had a feeling that something bad was going to happen to someone that maybe didn't deserve it. And I had to tell her that something bad happening to someone that didn't deserve it, a child or someone getting this illness because you got healed, that is not how Oludumare works. The way that was going to happen is those things that are being wished ill on you from your enemies, they are going to receive those things. That stuff is going to go to them. So she was able to kind of like do that work and like, okay, I understand and that makes sense. But it got me to thinking about my own relationship with God and what it looked like before and what it looks like now. And it's one of those things where if someone was to ask me, especially like a really close friend or family member, is like, why did you stop, practicing as an Israelite or practicing in that anything Abrahamic and go to Isheshe? I would say it's my relationship with God. That's one of the most profound things that shifted growing up, especially here in the South. Growing up in the South, I was in an Abrahamic religion, but it still wasn't Christianity. So I first had to contend with the Christian friends or close people in my life that had an issue with the fact that I still wasn't doing what they were doing. I still wasn't practicing a religion that they were practicing. And I was still inherently practicing a religion that censored my blackness, but it just was still an Abrahamic religion. And having to contend with having someone calling me when I was in middle school telling me I'm going to HE double hockey sticks because I don't practice the same religion as her. So that particular experience was already going the way that it was going prior to me actually even coming to Isheshe. But remembering that relationship with God, growing up in a religion where during the high holy day season. So for those of you who don't have Jewish friends, who you don't have Israelite friends, so you don't know what the high holy day season is. And the high holy day season kicks off right around late August, September, depends on how the calendar is moving throughout the year. But you have things like the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, where we're fasting. We have the Feast of Tabernacles, Rosh Hashanah, all of these things are happening. And it is said that during this time of year, this is the time of year where it's deciding whether or not you're going to be included in the book of life. Like, are you going to remain in the book of life during this time of year? And it's like, okay, so if you don't fast, you get wiped out of the book of life. Hi, Connie. If you don't fast, you're going to be stricken from the book of life. If you don't do this, you're not going to be included in the book of life. If you do this, you're not going to be included in the book of life. So you're going through this season to ensure that you're going to live another year. And I just want you to think about, as a child, what that does to your brain. So if I make a mistake, I'm gonna be unalive. That's what you're like as a kid, I stayed in a perpetual state of, am I going to make it to the next year? Because I'm always thinking about, if I don't do this, God's going to be angry with me. I was in a perpetual state of, if I make a mistake, God's going to be angry with me. Why? Because that's what all the stories told me. Like, thank you, sugar. That's how the stories told me. The stories told me that if I make a mistake, that God's going to be mad. God's going to be mad at me if I make a mistake. So why in the world would I feel okay just living? I stay in a perpetual state of, I'm messing up. And then every time something bad happened, I always said, I messed up. I did something wrong. I made God angry. And this is why this bad thing happened. So this is like from as a kid. So from childhood forward, this is a mindset I had. During Yom Kippur fasting, I remember consciously thinking that if I was super hungry when fasting, that I must have been really bad that year. And that's why fasting for me was so hard, because I must have been really bad. And that's why the fasting was such a struggle for me to do. Lo and behold, it's taboo for me to fast. Guess who learns that after initiation? It's taboo for her to fast. Alafia, darling. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm fasting and I'm like, this is hard. I must have been really bad that year. This is my thoughts as a child, and they continued much of my adult life. They continued much of my adult life. That thank y'all for tapping the screen. That it must be bad if fasting is too hard for me. There must be something I've done wrong, something wrong with me, because God's mad at me, and that's why God wants me to fast so that I can make amends with God for all the bad things that I've done. That's what you grow up with. So fast forward to I'm an adult. I'm living life, and things are happening. My Saturn returns. Saturn return was Saturn returning. My Saturn return was Saturn returning. The amount of struggle and things from, you know, food insecurity and home insecurity, and I'm going through this illness and that thing and this thing, and there were just so many things happening around my Saturn return. I was confident that God hated me. Then you fast forward, and I can't get pregnant because I have an infertility condition. And again, I must have done something. And I would say this, like I would consciously say, I must have done something wrong in my previous life, because why am I being punished in this fashion? I must have done something wrong in my previous life. That's why I'm being punished in this way. So I'm continuing to see, like, okay, Ashe. I'm continuing to feel this way about myself. I'm continuing to like struggle with this relationship with God, because as far as I'm concerned, I was on God's. That's the way I felt about it. I must have been on God's. That's why these things were happening. When I finally did get pregnant for the first time, only for at 22, 21 and a half, 22 weeks pregnant, for me to go into labor early, go to a hospital who would not put my son in the NICU, where we had to hold our son for 30 minutes until he transitioned because they refused to put him in the NICU. I was confident God had it out for me. God hated me. God didn't want me to have children. I had all of these feelings about why this was happening, and none of them were positive. So that's like, I'm going through this, not to mention the things going on in my marriage. I'm just sitting here like, it must be God hates me, because there's no other logical reason for this to be going on. God must hate me. I sucked as an Israelite, and God hates me. I probably did suck as one because I wasn't supposed to be one, but I digress. So I get to 2020, and that's when the conscious awakening happens. And I say this that way because you have spiritual awakenings all of your life. But then there's that one that you're consciously aware is taking place. So I was consciously aware in 2020 that I was having an awakening. My Facebook memories say my awakening started like 2017, 2018, but I was consciously aware in 2020 that I was having a spiritual awakening. And of course, being a Black individual coming through the journey, I discovered Odisha. And so when I discovered Odisha, it was like, why does this feel natural to me? That was the first question. Why does this feel natural? And my first mentor, though, was not in the tradition. My first mentor simply was a spiritual mentor. That is who she was. That is what they were supporting me with. And so when we had our first consultation, and they asked me, what do you want? When you walk away from this, what is it that you want? And my answer was, I want a relationship with God where I don't feel like God hates me. And when I said I have a relationship with God where I feel like God doesn't hate me, it's like the universe said, she's ready. The universe was like, she is absolutely ready to go. She's ready. And it's when I tell you, within 24 hours, every single one of my spiritual gifts activated. In 24 hours, every single solitary possible spiritual gift that could manifest did in 24 hours. I continued, and my first mentor gave me work. Like, they don't realize, I don't know if they realize they gave me Ori work in the beginning of my journey. They gave me Ori work, and they gave me ancestor work. And that is where my journey began, was Ori work, lots of self-love work, lots of work on loving myself. And I just remember sitting there one day, and I didn't know it was mediumship. I didn't realize I was channeling, but I'm sitting there and I write this phrase down that self love is an act of worship. By then, I understood that even if I never ever put a physical altar in my house, I have physical altars, but if I never put one up, that's okay because I am the altar. If I never put an altar physically up in my home, it is okay because I am the altar. I am the altar to the divine. So when thinking about self love as an act of worship, I am the altar to the divine. I realized that every time I did something to learn about myself, I was inherently learning about God's creation and then learning that God is existing in me. Then it's like I'm learning more about how God's manifesting as me. Every time I learn something new about myself, I am actively taking a time to learn how is the Most High manifesting as me. And the more I went through at that lens, then things started to make even more, things started to make sense to me regarding my name. So my birth name, Dania, means God is my judge. And the irony in my name is that though God is my judge, so first and foremost is an indication that there isn't any other divine energy, any other human energy. There is no one that knows me well enough to judge me outside of God. The reason why there's no one that knows me well enough to judge me outside of God is because I am a walking embodiment of God. And as a walking embodiment, what does God look like judging what God's self? That sounds stupid. And the moment that clicked, the moment it clicks for me that God could judge me, but God's not. The moment it clicks for me that God is not sitting someplace waiting for me to make a mistake so that God can smite me. The when it makes sense to me that God is not sitting someplace making sure that I'm actually worthy of the blessings that I'm trying to ask for. God just simply wants me to accept the blessings that I'm trying to ask for. It was like this beautiful shift. Then you get the introduction, and I finally get to content creators one time for Oloye Obafemi, and I can't remember her full name. I know it's Oyabumi, but I don't remember her full name. But those two content creators were the only Isheshe content creators I was following at the time. And thus they were the only content creators that were talking about Ori the way that they were. And when they put Ori right there front and center, when you come to Isheshe and you realize that Isheshe is about tradition, but it's also about understanding primordial energies and understanding which primordial energies you should go to depending on what's going on with you. And there's Olodumare and then your Ori. Then you learn that your Ori Ileda is the aspect of your Ori that answers when you are actually playing to source. It is where source answers you within your Ori. Your Ori is the one answering. When you're making those prayers, it is your Ori because your Ori is Olodumare. It is God. God is the divine, most high source in you. Your Ori is God in you. So when you're making your prayers, it is your Ori that is answering. Then you learn your Ori is you. Ori is the totality of who you are. Your Ori is the totality of who you are. So when you are asking for things from the Most High, from the Creator, you are literally talking to the aspects of yourself that is holding on to all those blessings to release them for you. And I'm like, so what I'm saying is, so what you're telling me is that why would God be mad at God's self? Like, why would, like, the idea of I'm gonna be angry with you because you screwed up, but you knew I was gonna screw up. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. I didn't surprise you. How you gonna surprise God? How you gonna surprise God? Make that make sense. You shouldn't have done that. I didn't see that coming. How you gonna surprise God? God, you can't surprise God. So now I'm sitting here like, okay, and understanding that relates that right there, being able to sit with my Ori, sit with God and say, were you mad at me? Alafia Omishola, sitting and saying, are you mad at me? did I make you angry? And God's like, no. And when I say the no had a bunch of duh behind it, like the no, it was a no with an undercurrent of duh. And I'm just like, okay, so you grow up and you grow up as, in a Judaic perspective. I don't think it's as taboo in other Abrahamic religions, but I know from an Israelite perspective, tattoos are a no-no. As you can see, I do have one. As you can see, I have two. But growing up, oh, that was like one of the hugest like no's. But I was obsessed with them. Obsessed. I loved tattoos as a kid. I loved to see them on people. I just thought they were the human body being this beautiful art in canvas was just an amazing thing to me. And it was like, no, you're not supposed to mark your body. You're not supposed to be dedicating your part of your body to whatever it is you're tattooing on your body. And I'm just like, okay. So even getting a fake, I remember Spencer's. Anybody remember shopping at Spencer's? Used to have the best fake tattoos. I got one that fit from here to here, from here to here. And considering the fact I haven't grown that much into my childhood, this is about the same space. It's about, my arm is about the size as I was as a little kid. So filled up this whole thing. I'm like, oh, this is so fire. Man, what is that on your arm? It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's not even real. But the idea that even the fake one would be a problem. So as I'm going through this journey, I said 2020 is when the awakening began. 2021, my birthday comes up. And it's in my head. I want to get my tongue re-pierced and I want a tattoo. I want my tongue re-pierced and I want a tattoo. I'm going to open this hole in my tongue back up and I'm going to get a tattoo. And so I prayed on it. I was like, look, I want a tattoo. Is this okay for me to do? By then I had already learned how to hear my Ori's yeses and nos. So I asked, and I'm like, is God going to be mad at me? Because I'm still doing the work. I'm still trying to refortify my relationship with God in a different lens. So, but I asked the question, is God going to be mad at me if I get a tattoo? And again, it's like, no. And when I say, first off, I don't like the fact that like every time like God speaks to me, it's like, why you ask me this craziest question? I'm like, because that's what they said. Like, and I'll talk like that's what they said. They said that you'd be mad at me. And I just want to know, would you actually be mad at me? I don't care. I don't care. Clearly, the impulse to get the tattoo was coming from me. You didn't get that idea from nowhere. I'm giving you the idea. I want you to get the tattoo. All right. So I'm like, if I'm meant to have it, it's going to happen. I leave. I go to the tattoo parlor. I've never gotten a tattoo before. I don't even have anybody to ask about the tattoo. I just happen to just say, okay, where am I going to go? I found one in the Googles and it said Artist Grove or something like that. And I'm like, that sounds really cool. I drive over there. I pull up in the parking lot. I look in the window and Buddha is on the wall. And I'm like, that's a vibe. That's a vibe. Okay. I walk inside, crystal grids everywhere. Okay. We got a vibe. I should have brought some crystals in here. What? So I'm looking around. I had a set amount of money I was going to pay. I didn't know what tattoos cost, but I had a set amount of money in my head that I was going to pay for what was going to happen. First off, my piercing was way less than I expected. They were like, oh, we'll pierce your tongue for $25. That's it, $25? Say that. Go ahead. Pierce it. Go off. I did end up letting it close again. I'm going to have to get it redone. But so then I've had this image in my head. My best friend at the time, I had been sending him this picture for weeks. Like, if I get a tattoo, this is the image that I want. I want the lotus flower with the Om symbol above it. I want the lotus flower and the Om sitting right above it. That is what I wanted. I had been saying it for the longest. I didn't know where I was going to put it. I just knew that's what I wanted. I go and look in this one gentleman's book, Young Black Guy, and there's a tattoo. Almost exactly the way I could see it. And I'm just like, And I'm sitting there on this couch with all this divine feminine art iconography. And at the time, I was hosting goddess gatherings, and I'm just like, okay, all right. So I'm on the phone with my best friend, tell them I'm getting ready to pull the trigger, get this tattoo. They said, say less, I'm on the way. And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, I'm on the way. So by the time he gets there, the tattoo artist has finished doing a mock up of the tattoo that he wants to put on me. And I'm in love. But then he quotes me the price, and it's out of my budget, about $60. And I'm like, dang, I'm not going to be able to get it. Uh, Ashe, we sure do. So I'm like, I can't get it. And my homeboy's like, absolutely not. Here you go. Pays the rest of the tattoo on the tip. I'm like, are you sure? He said, yep. So I was able to get the tattoo. It wasn't that it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt the way I expected it to. And I am a crybaby. I did not cry. I didn't cry until I realized I had fulfilled a dream of my childhood. And it's like my whole soul sang. It was like my whole soul sang out loud, yay! I have, like, I need you to understand, I wanted a tattoo from like elementary school. And to finally, at, what was that, 41 years old, to finally get 41, 42, something like that, get a tattoo that I have wanted since I was a child. There was no thunder, no, I mean, irony, but no lightning bolt or any, like, I didn't get struck down. It was one of the happiest things I had ever done for myself. And I'm just like, oh, so you really don't care like that. I'm like, no, there's certain things I care about, but that ain't it. And I'm just like, okay. And that was probably a really strong turning point between with me and my relationship with God. It was like, I am not judging you. I'm not judging you. Is what you want to do going to hurt somebody else? No. Is it going to, like, is it in alignment? Yes. Then do it. And I'm just like, okay. And I went through just various moments of just sitting with God and just talking to my Ori, and just like, you really are not what they painted you as. Like, this is really not the same relationship. When I started sitting at my altar and really just talking to my Ori or talking to Oludumare, if someone was sitting in the room with me, they were like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, why? It's not like you're talking to like your homie. I am talking to my homie. God's the homie. I'm talking to my homie. And I talk to God just like that. Just like that. I will laugh with God. I can cry with God, and I feel safe. I don't feel like people say, like, you want a God-fearing man or God-fearing woman. Guess what? If you're looking for a God-fearing woman, I am not her. Respectfully. I'm not her. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. And understanding there is a difference between respect and fear. I have zero fear. I have reverence. I feel honor and respect. And in that, I have an exceptional amount of honor and reverence and respect for myself, because in all her wisdom, Oludumare said that when I'm going to incarnate as you. I'm going to be you right now. I'm going to come live in your body and explore the world through you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explore the world through you. And that is what our Ori is. I'm going to explore the world through you, and that is what our Ori is doing. And I'm just like, recognizing that my intuitive yes had been coming through for over a year, and I didn't know what it was. I had been feeling the yes from my Ori for a year in my body and didn't realize what it was. I just pushed it aside. I didn't pay attention until I was actively trying to learn how my Ori speaks. That, oh my God, my Ori's been telling me yes for months. And I didn't know that's what it was. I realized it was coinciding with things where I was making yes decisions on. And I'm like, when you eliminate the fear, when you eliminate the hurt, when you eliminate the trauma from your relationship with God, there's a freedom there that I cannot put into words well enough. There is a freedom that comes from that breaking of that chain, breaking of that tie that I can't put into words strong enough. My relationship with my Ori and Oludumare is one of complete love. Complete love. When I, who was that? Ancestor. Which one? Is it my son? It's not my son. Big John? You on the wrong side. You're supposed to be over there. Sorry, I got company. I got company. So when I look at how I used to be afraid, I'm going to make a mistake and God's going to be mad. I can't love this person because God's going to be mad at me. That's not what that is. That is not that to for me. As far as me, my lineage I'm birthing, and anyone else associated with me, that does not exist in Isheshe. And I call Isheshe very specifically. The pre-colonization Isheshe has no room for a supreme being that is sitting around judging you. Oludumare has other things to do. She is out here living and existing as billions, trillions, gajillions of people, plants, animals, things, planets, stars, galaxies, asteroids. She ain't got time to be sitting around wondering, did you get that tattoo? She put in place things to let you know, is this in alignment for you? Yes or no. It's not about the thing being bad. Is it in alignment for you? Does it support your energy, or does it put you in an energy that is contrary to the things that you're trying to manifest? This is the beauty of Isheshe as a religion, as a spiritual system, and Ifa as a divination system. It is not about, oh, wearing red is bad. There are plenty of people who wear red. Wearing red is not bad. It's not bad to wear red. It's bad for me to wear red. See the difference? It's not bad to wear red. For me personally, it is in my and anyone close to me's best interest that I'm not running around in a red dress. Y'all don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see me in an all red dress. I tell my godchildren all the time, if I show up to an event or something, I show up outside the house and I have a full red dress on, either cover me in white or leave. Grand afternoon to you as well. Cover me in white or leave, get off the premises. Because me in red is never a good sign. If I have on a red t-shirt and it's Shango's day, cool. Outside of that, I don't need to wear red. That's the reason it's not in alignment for me personally. And it's not that it's a thing for all of them. It's a thing for me personally. Black is my favorite color. I love black. I am black. I can't wear black. Do you know how hard it was to get rid of all my black clothes? But it wasn't that black was a bad thing. Ikesan. It was not like a bad thing. It was, I can't wear black because black puts me in a specific kind of energy. Veiling, wearing a headscarf is taboo for me. It is taboo for me to cover myself in a veil, scarf, shawl, or anything of the like. It is taboo for me to do that. It's not that doing that thing is bad. It is that for me personally, it speaks to my ori of a specific type of energy that is not okay for me. So when you look at my relationship with God, it's not that you don't do that thing because it's bad. It's like when I incarnated as you, there were certain things that when you or Ori were sitting there chopping it up about what this life experience is going to look like, I don't want that. I don't want that part of my life experience. So guess what? You're not going to fast. And you have all these spiritual religious people. Oh my God, the way to get closer to God is to fast. It is taboo for me to fast. I don't do this anymore. The last time I fasted, prior to initiation, was the last time I have ever been able to successfully actually fast. I haven't been able to do it since. I have not been able to deprive myself of food, drink ever since. I can cut back. I can watch what I eat. I can maybe not eat a specific type of food for a while, but to full blown go into a fast, I cannot do. And it's interesting because even I wish I can remember which Odu it is, but there's even an Odu and there's an Itan in the Odu. And in the Itan, it is Eshu is having a conversation with Baba Imale. And Baba Imale is talking about fasting. And he is a practitioner of a specific Abrahamic religion. And so I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be flagging my life. So it's an Abrahamic religion. He's a practitioner of it. And he's like, we fast for God. And Eshu says, ha, you're lying. God is not dead. So you can't possibly be fasting for God. God doesn't need you to fast. God doesn't need you to fast. The relationship that you're looking for with the Most High is here. It's here. It's absolutely here. When you develop a relationship with your Ori, you are inherently developing a relationship with the Most High, because that's what Ori is. It is source energy, the creator, God, goddess, spark, energy, essence in you, as you, living as you. When you cultivate that relationship, you are actively cultivating a relationship with God. You do not need to fast to do that. You know what helps you do that? One, just acknowledging your Ori, just getting up in the morning and saying thank you to your Ori. And I'm like, huh, okay. And all of this is pre-initiation. I ain't even initiated yet. I throw a body with you. Ooh, child. What's going on with your ashe? I throw a shorty will fool my child. Who's sitting with you? Who is sitting at your house? Tell them I said what up though. Whoever's sitting at your house, probably some of my people, tell them I said what up though. Because the way you came through, like, oh, the way you came through, like, oh, okay. Agbo, ato. It's a party. It's a party. Oh, it's a party. One time for all my goddaughters in here. Love y'all. But I hadn't initiated yet. This is just me getting to know my Ori. This is just me getting to know my Ori and developing that relationship and cultivating that relationship and getting to know myself. The more I got to know myself, the more it was the not weird, but the most unusual correlation. The more I understood myself, the more I understood God. The more I understood myself, the more I understood God. And Isheshe is what gave that to me. Isheshe said, get to know yourself. That's what Isheshe said, get to know yourself. Spend time learning who you are. Spend time embracing who you are in totality, in the whole of who you are. I love the sis. Get to know who you are. So that's what I did. I spent time in my birth chart, every version of it, astrological, both tropical and Vedic. I was calculating my numerology chart, my gene keys, my human design, my Myers-Briggs. I was looking at all of the things to learn who I am. And the more I learned who I am, the closer I got to God. The more I learned who I am, the closer I got to God. And I just remember one day just going through thinking about the pain, trauma and things of that nature. And I said, why? I just remember just like, why? And in the quietest of whispers, she said, I'm sorry. And if I could give that gift, that's the gift I would give. She said, I'm sorry. There was not a feeling of I was punishing you. There was not a feeling of I wanted to see you harmed. There was not a feeling of, there was just simply a feeling of, I wish it could have been different. That was the feeling. The feeling I got from my creator said, all those things that you had to go through, I wish it could have been different. I did not want that to end up being the thing for you. And when we come to, you're going to have to calm me. When we come to the religion, when we come to the tradition, and understanding that we chose our ori, our destiny. I won't say everyone chose to come, because I divined on that. If you are new here, I divine on everything. And when I saw enough content creators saying like, I didn't choose this, da, 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 I divined on it. I said, does everyone that's walking on earth today, did we all choose to be here? No. Some of y'all were voluntold, and some of us volunteered. And that is why there is such a stark difference between how some people see their earthly experience. Even with everything, when I say SA was something that I experienced over and over and over again, verbal abuse over and over and over again. I understand the trauma, homelessness multiple times. I understand the trauma, loss of a child. I have experienced all of the things. But if you ask me, do I think Earth is ghetto? No. And I always felt like maybe I'm not doing spirituality right. Maybe I'm not doing spirituality correctly. It's not that. I chose to be here. Whereas someone else may not have, I actively made a decision to reincarnate after a while and come back. There was something that needed to be done, and I volunteered to do it. Everybody did. Some people like, you got to go. And it was like, I don't want to. Now you got to go, homie. But in either case, I say, like, I am sitting there with God, and I said, God, I am mad at you. I am angry with you because you let them hurt me. And God is like, I'm sorry. And that's all that God can say. That's all. Is I'm sorry. But I mean, and I'm sorry from the Most High. Understanding the shift, because walking in my Israelite body, sitting and telling God, I am mad as heck at you, not a thing. Most people in an Abrahamic religion would probably say, not a thing. If you still have ties, even if you are practicing an ATR, if it is tied to an Abrahamic religion, not a thing. But Isheshe gives me the freedom to sit at the mat and look up, look within, and say, God, I am mad at you for all of these things that happened. And God not take it personally and be like, I get it. Because if you think that the Most High can't see your life experience, see your trauma, and understand why you might actually be mad, we don't spiritually bypass. This whole, oh, I'm going to always have a good day. And it is 2024. And if you are Black and living in the African American diaspora, likely you might be having a good day. But there is some stuff you're mad about. And your creator is saying, tell me. Stop holding it in your body. Tell me. I see you. I need you to communicate. I don't like this. I don't like it. I want things to be differently. I don't want to have to struggle no more. I don't want to have to beg. I don't want to script. I don't want to script. I don't want to do nothing. This is what I want it to look like. Because that is the relationship God wants us to have. I want you to co-create with me. That is why we go to our Ori first. And for those who are like, well, what about your ancestors are part of your blood and bones and they are not human? They already know that your Ori comes first because they used to have one. Duh. Your ancestors had an Ori. And so they understand that the Ori comes first. For so where anybody's thinking, well, supposed to, it's your Ori first. Your Ori is literally God inside you. God's first. So that means your Ori is first. If Ori is essentially God inside you, you are going to go to your Ori first. And then your Ori is going to say, you know what? In this situation, I'm delegating because if God is not what? A master at delegation. So I'm going to delegate this particular blessing to whoever. Your egu, your egbe, your mama, your daddy, your somebody else in your neighborhood, because all of these come before Orisha. You, your egu, your egbe, your mama, your daddy, the people in your ile, if you are in one, or your spiritual family, the neighbors, community resources, and then your elder, and then your Orisha. In that order. In that order. In that order. Look how far, how many you have to go through before it becomes Orisha that steps in. It's one thing to get a divination and you get an Odu, and that says that Orisha is the one standing up for you. But understand, if you understand your Ori and understand the relationship between your Ori and Oromila, you will understand that Oromila is talking to your Ori every time you get a divination. Oromila is talking to your Ori. That's what's happening behind the scenes. What you can't see is Oromila and your Ori sitting around. Okay, she's asking a question about this thing, and Ori is going through the book of destiny. This is where she's at. And Romulus says, say less, comes back to your diviner with the wisdom to give to you. It is a conversation between you, your Babalawo, your Ianifa, and Orumila, who is talking to your Ori. That's who involved in the conversation. So even when it comes up that it's in Orisha, it is your Egun or whatever that is helping you in that situation, this is your Ori delegating that task to them. Yes, it is life changing, especially like I didn't grow up in the most popular Abrahamic religion. That's how I will call it, the most popular one. But I had a lot of friends that practiced it. And that whole don't lean on your own understanding. You don't have any answers. And then to come to an ATR and understand our ancestors knew that we had all the answers. We may not all have the skill set to access the answers like that, like some can, because some can, but they understood we had the answers. So whether it was us sitting within ourselves, being able to hear the answer clear, concisely, and move accordingly, or us go to a diviner who could hear the answers clear and concisely and help to move accordingly, we had the answer. Understand that you go and receive divination from someone, you are not looking outside of yourself. You're not. Whoever is divining for you is having a conversation with your inner self. They're having a conversation with your Ori. So you're not going outside of yourself. It is simply that you may not be a medium in that regard. Everyone is inherently psychic, but not everybody is a medium. You may not be an oracle because mediums and oracles ain't created equal. You may not be an oracle. You may not have developed the gift of trusting your intuition to where if you got the yes, you would listen to it. This is what divination is for. And even if you do have the gift, there are moments, there are times that sometimes we are just too close to a situation. Like, I'm going to pop off. I've had those moments. My godchildren can attest to it. I have no problem going to someone else and say, hey, I'm feeling away. I am feeling away. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you divine for me because you know what I can't do? I want to pop off. I'm too hot. I'm too hot. I need someone else to cool me down. I'm too hot. I need you to cool me down. So I go. It's not about me. I don't doubt my gift. I know. But in that moment, I need to receive the medicine from somebody else. It's like a doctor. A doctor doesn't always administer their own medicine. They got a doctor they go see. I am an Isheshe doctor for the African American diaspora, and I have an African American doctor that I go see from time to time. It's the same thing. That's all it is. I asked Ifa, I said, Ifa, at the time when I was at this crossroads, because I remember the feeling, I'm at this crossroads. What do I do? I'm trying to decide if I'm going to hang on to angry Abrahamic God or if I'm going to try to develop a new relationship via the lens of ATR. Am I going to stay with God or I'm going to develop a new relationship with the Most High via ATR? Greetings. So, y'all know me. I guessed. I divine on it. I divine on it and say, hey, Ifa, at the time that I was going through this, what Odu was I living in that moment? You know, they say nothing's perfect, but now I'm gonna real talk. Like, Ifa divination, at least through me, is really, really close. Like, it's real close. So, Ifa revealed for me the Holy Odu, Ogbe Otura. And I was like, that's what's up. From a very basic sense, like from a real, real basic sense, it is an open road leading me to mystic vision. And so, what I think about that, aligning with my destiny is going to help me in my connection to spirit. Aligning with my destiny is what is going to give me a deeper connection to spirit. Agbo atotai. So I'm just sitting here and like Ifa says, at the moment when I was making this decision, I was physically the action I was in was Okbe because Okbe is on that side. So physically, that's the energy I was manifesting. I was manifesting aligning to my destiny. I was manifesting this. And it's true because I was doing or rework. Even though I didn't know that's what I was doing, I was doing or rework at the time. I'm getting to know myself. And as I learned new things, I integrated them. I wasn't just looking at my birth chart and looking at my numerology chart. I was looking for ways to actually integrate the aspects of my personality that I did not feel like I was showing into my physical reality. So I'm in this energy of obey. I'm doing the right things at the right time with the right people. Then I go in what's happening behind the scenes is Otura. Well, that's what's happening behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, I am developing and communing with spirit. That's the thing I don't realize is happening in that moment. That connection to spirit is building up. It took me a minute to even realize how many of my, like, clairvoyance was already active, claircognizance was hot, like my clairsentience was crazy, clairaudience. Heck, my ears are ringing now. Like, my ears are ringing now. A little bit of clair olfactory had showed up. Like, how do I, like, I'm doing that. So I looked and I said, well, you know, so I had a couple of etons, and I'm like, well, oh. So one of the things that was happening, Agbo brother, is it Jamal? It's Jamal. Yes, brother Jamal. Agbo. So one of the things that was happening around that time in my life. So when I asked this question, this is where I was in 2020 when I was going through the awakening and I was consciously aware of it. So I'm clairvoyant, and my clairvoyance is most prominent through dreams. Hi, Neurospicy. It's most prominent through dreams. If I am asleep, I am seeing. Whether I am seeing or I'm visiting one of y'all, that's where my clairvoyance is most active. And so at the time, I was also having night terrors. I was having night terrors and I was having sleep paralysis. It wasn't until I started doing dream work, like actively, intentionally doing dream work, that I realized what was going on. And so one of the etons is where Romila was going for divination because Romila was having nightmares daily. So he consulted Ifa to find out what effect the nightmare would have. And he was told to make Ifa signs on his body, on his wife and child to avert evil. He did so, and no evil came to his house. So of course, he praised the priest, and the priest praised Ifa. And this was like, in it, it talks about going to the forest of immortality. I take my wife into the forest. I take my children into the forest of immortality. And so when you look at what was going on. It's talking about having the signs on you, the E5 signs. At the time, of course, I hadn't fully discovered E5, but what I did was listen and walk in my Iwa Pele. And in the moment of walking in my Iwa Pele, what ends up happening is I inevitably get drawn to things to help give me answers. I was already doing Ori work, so I trusted in my Ori. My Ori said, do this. I was like, say less. So at the time, I found a content creator who talked about dreams and the levels of dreaming and things of that nature, but also cultivating a dream practice. And one of the things they talked about was things to do in your sleep space to help you with your sleeping. And so, because I was having such a struggle dreaming, and then my mentor at the time did the same thing, she started teaching a dream class. And one of the things was the water beside the bed and salt water underneath the bed. So I did that. And so did the water underneath the bed, and then my water beside the bed, I programmed it. I spoke to the water, and I was like, I don't want bad dreams. So I'm going to have great dreams. They're going to be clear. I'm going to see everything. I'm going to get the messages, but I will not have any more frightening dreams. I kept the water under my bed for about a week, changing it out. And then I would, like, generally speaking, I have some sort of water near me in my room when I'm sleeping, even still to this day. It may not be on the nightstand, but there's always a water in my room. And I stopped sleeping in the dark. And I stopped sleeping in the dark. Yes, you got to talk to it. You got to talk to it. You got to tell it, hey, this is how I want this to go. So I remember just realizing after maybe a week or so that I had not had a nightmare nor sleep paralysis. And then some more time goes by. No nightmares, no sleep paralysis. And to this day, no nightmares. I have had dreams where sort of stuff that's happening in the dream I didn't like, but to wake up like with that fear feeling like I had a nightmare or a night, I haven't had one. I have absolutely not had one. I think I drifted to sleep when I, not long after first moving in this house, and I was doing a meditation for clairaudience and sitting in the chair, and I dozed off. And I don't know what was said, because if you ask me what was said, I don't remember. And apparently, I may blink out. Like, there's more than one occasion with my ex that's the same thing. He said something and I responded. But what he said to trigger the response, I have zero. When I say zero, someone's gonna have to divine for it, because I don't know what he said. So the same thing happened that morning. Whatever was said, I don't know what was said. All I remember is leaving my body. I'm out my body, standing in my foyer, going off. You can't talk to me like that. This is my house. I am stronger than you. You don't even know who I am. Get out of my house. And then I felt peaceful. And I remember looking up the hallway like, oh, my kids will be awake soon, and slamming back into my body. But that's it. I haven't had any other nightmares or anything like that since. And I've even dreamt of not being alive as a little girl and riding somewhere, and they're like, what's, I'm like, what's going on? And I guess I'm talking to spirit guides, and they're like, well, you died. And I'm like, well, you weren't supposed to let that happen. So I'm about to go and you fix it. I'm going back to my parents. And I go back to my body. And I'm just like, and to wake up so peaceful and so chill, and I'm just like, pause, was I dead? And help me understand. And then it's like, I'm just chill. If I hadn't been trusting my Ori, I wouldn't have taken those steps. If I wasn't listening to my Ori, I wouldn't have taken the steps that I took, because they were so contrary to how I grew up. Like, put some water in my bed. What's that gonna do? I just trusted my Ori. I trusted her implicitly to, like, not put me in danger. And she didn't. And whatever she told me to do was gonna work. So that's what I believed. And so it worked. I stopped having nightmares. I no longer have sleep paralysis. And I also realized that the sleep paralysis was because I'd be astral projecting. And I would wake up faster than I was getting back into my body. So where some of y'all may say, well, there's always something. I have never ever seen something, heard something when I had sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis for me is that I didn't do a great job getting back in my body when it was time for me to get up. And so I would get back in, but I'd either land too hard, and so then I'll wake up and my chest hurt, or I'd wake up faster than my astral body was back in my physical body, and I can't move. You can't move your physical body until your astral's back in. So I'm trying to move, my astral's not in my body. I have to wait till we're back together. So I don't have that issue anymore because I do a better job of landing back in my body. But I say all that to say, like, I would have done any of that. That would have been a thing. That would not have been a thing. I mean, like, it's crazy. I'm not doing this shit. And then I'd still be having really bad night terrors. And the other piece of what it did for me is Ishe confirmed things for me. So one of the things I got confirmation on was that it's not just that I'm having vivid dreams. Like, no, I'm like, my precognition uh, is real active when I am asleep, or I am literally traveling in my sleep. I'm going to see people, I'm going to see things. I am traveling in my sleep. And because I am traveling in my sleep, I need to pay really close attention to my dreams. And so, certain dreams that I may have been having when I was younger, I realize now I was likely seeing something that was going to come to pass, but it was really scary for me, especially as a little kid. So, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have someone that could tell me, hey, this is why you're having this dream. This is why this dream is taking place. Hold on. You are not. There we go. That's why this dream is taking place. And growing up, you would watching TV, listening to people, they say only special people get dreams like that. Only special people have this connection. And then you learn that our ancestors understood everyone has an Ori. Everybody. Everything has an Ori. Everybody and everything has an Ori. So if everybody and everything has an Ori, that means everybody and everything has the spark of Olodumare within them. And I shall. Everybody and everything has an Ori. Everybody over. That means everybody and everything has Olodumare spark within them. That means that the idea that it's only certain people that could potentially, like, Ashe, um, can have this. A lot of people, like, everybody dream. Everybody don't remember their dreams, but everybody dream. And everybody that remembers seeing something in their sleep. You saw something in your sleep that you don't see in your physical reality. In that moment, you saw it. That's a vision. That's a vision. A dream is a vision. It's just an extended vision that you're having while you're asleep. It's a vision. Like, look, we won't use euphemisms. Dreams are visions. That's clairvoyance. Everybody is a little psychic. The difference, I always say this, people who have been in my lives before, my godchildren would say, everyone is psychic. The difference between you and me is I go to the spiritual gym. That's the difference. The difference between you and that medium you go see is that they go to the spiritual gym. They do work to strengthen the muscles associated with their psychic gifts. But everyone is inherently psychic. And you have seen this. Like in the Black, we all know that mama, grandma, somebody who bones would hurt when the rain was coming. And they're like, and if this, and it's the storm's not on top of you, so you can't blame it on the barometric pressure. The storm's not here, and they'd be like, "No, it's gonna rain probably tomorrow," or something like that. I'm like, oh, what? Okay. I didn't know everybody couldn't smell the rain coming. Apparently, that's not that is not a thing. I thought it was common. I thought everybody could smell rain coming. I did not know that was not a thing. That only a few people could, only not everybody. I'm like, oh, I always smell the rain coming. I always know when it's gonna rain. That is clairsentience, and with the nose, it's clear olfactory. Those classes that you took in school that you didn't have to study for, and you always do the answers just come, just plop in your head. Pow, pow. You always do the answers. You didn't know why you understood. All you knew is that you understood. That is clear cognizance. That is clear knowing. Everyone is a little psychic. Everyone has intuition and instinct. Those are psychic gifts. Intuition and instinct are psychic gifts. Everybody has them. The difference between someone else who is able to do something with it and those who haphazardly use it is going to the spiritual gym. That is the difference between it. And everybody may not be going to, and like, and just because you end up in the spiritual gym doesn't mean you're going to use it for somebody else. Some people, they have it, but they're only meant to use it for themselves. Some people have it and they're only meant to use it for their family. Some people have it and they're supposed to use it for the masses. Every reason why someone is inherently psychic is going to differ, but one of the things that's consistent is that every person is meant to trust their intuition to help guide them to walking towards their iwapele and bring about their own, as Obafemi would say, good condition. Everybody's supposed to be bringing about their own good condition in their life. And trusting in your intuition and hearing the voice of your Ori clearly is that. When it comes to the relationship between my Ori, me, my Ori, and my ego, your ego is not separate from your Ori. When you learn about the vastness of your Ori complex, because it's vast, it is multifaceted and multidimensional. Why? Because it's the spark of God inside you. And since God is multifaceted, multidimensional, and just really hard to pin down, so is your Ori, which means so are you. And every aspect of who you are is part of your Ori complex, including your ego. Your Ori Ode, your physical head, is the home of your personality, your thoughts, and your ego. All live in your Ori Ode. So this whole idea, I got to kill my ego, is not a thing. It's not a thing. Bringing everything into alignment is, so that you don't feel like you have inner conflict. You don't feel like your ego and your Ori are having it out. You don't feel like they're going to battle. Your Ori and your ego speaking in the same language. Your Ori and your ego speaking the same language. They want the same things. It's the idea that your ego doesn't want to hurt you. That's something somebody said. Your ego does not want to hurt you. Your ego wants the best for you, just like your higher self does. I will give it its language. Your ego and your higher self want the same thing, the best for you. Because your ego is associated with your Ori Ode, it is only able to go off of the perception that is based off of your physical reality. It can only make decisions based upon what it knows of the world, what it knows of you, and what it knows of your life experience. That is how your ego works. So if it doesn't have any connection to something else, you are less likely to do the thing, not because your ego thinks it's wrong. It's like, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. I don't know. No, no, we're going to do what we normally do because I know what to do here. I know what to do in this situation because you've done it before. And that's why you keep repeating certain things over and over again, because your ego knows what to do in those scenarios. It knows how to move in those scenarios because you have moved in a certain way over and over again. When you are doing work to help in your conscious awakening process, you are not meant to be killing your ego. You're meant to get your ego and your Ori to trust each other. You already trust your ego. Your ego doesn't trust your Ori. It thinks it's separate. Just like you think you're separate from God, your ego thinks it's separate from your Ori. It doesn't even realize it and the Ori are one. It doesn't, oh, that's good. That's very good. Your ego doesn't realize it's one with your Ori. It doesn't know it. It thinks it's its own separate thing. It's not. It's part of your Ori Ode. And once it begins to understand that it and your Ori are actually one, you're like, it starts to become on the same page. And you are less likely to um, have this inner dialogue that sounds like a constant battle within yourself. Because then it'll realize, oh, well, we actually want the same thing. And I know you because you're me and you wouldn't actually cause any harm to yourself. So yeah. Okay. So this is cool. This is cool. I could go off. And it's constant. It's constant. It's not something that you won't have to recircle back and recalibrate. That's a thing. You'll have to recalibrate from time to time, because reality is going to reality and society is going to society, and you're going to have those moments where you end up with that questioning, and that's okay. It doesn't make you less spiritual. It doesn't mean that you're not doing it right. It means that you are a human having a human experience. And even though in your humanity you are also divinely God is the most high in source, you are still in your physical human body. And thank you, daughter. You are still in a physical human body, and you're still going to be experiencing the things. You're still going to be experiencing the things. And that's why I say we don't do spiritual bypassing. You struggling to pay your rent? Oh, but I'm happy. No, you're not. You're struggling to pay your rent. That's not a reason to be happy. It's a reason for you to take action. And if you don't know what the action is, this is a reason for you to go get a reading, divination, to say, what is it that I need to do so I can pay my rent? This whole like let go and let God thing is a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful, but you still have to tell God to take it over. And you might still need to give an energy exchange, because energy is being expended. So the energy has got to be, balanced out, but you got to do something. And sometimes this requires you to walk in your Iwapele. Sometimes it requires you to just say an invocation. But either way, an energy is going to be exchanged so that you can bring about that change in your condition. Being able to embrace myself and my relationship with God gives me safety. It gives me safety to like, I don't like, this is, it's like, I don't want to feel like I'm going to be like doing this by myself. And knowing that I'm never separate from the Most High. Like, never separate from the Most High. Like, every time I'm looking at myself on the camera, I'm looking at God. Every time you're looking at yourself in your mirror, you are looking at God. That sign that you want from the universe has always been looking back at you. It's been looking at you, looking at your reflection over and over and over again. It's been looking at you and being able to see, like, oh my God. And looking at yourself and literally, like, no, like for real, oh my God. And even if it's too much, like you're not far enough in your journey to say, oh, me and God are one. I'm like, you are still the most highest creation. Like, I don't even like what I created. For real? For real? I don't even like you. I created you. Like, I molded and shaped you, but I don't like it. It's like Abrahamic religions like treat us like we stupid. That's the way I feel about it. They treat us like we're stupid. They treat us like we're stupid. And I didn't want to be that way anymore. I didn't want a Stockholm syndrome relationship with my creator, because by and large, that's what I had. I had this Stockholm syndrome relationship. I had been hurt. I had been abused. I had been all of these things. I didn't want that relationship anymore. I didn't want it anymore. Coming to Isheshe and learning that, and then learning the Orishas are the consciousness. They are also sparks of Olodumare found in nature. And because as a human, I am also nature, they're found within me. We don't do, oh my God, you're going to make so-and-so angry. If you are still using language in an ATR, in an African religion, whether it is the traditional religion or a derived religion, if you are still using language that sounds like angry, wrathful, jealous God of the Abrahamic religion, you still have deconstruction work to do. Because those angry, jealous at you, it'd be one thing if it's a story about something they've got going on, because that's the one thing I love about the tradition is in the stories, They are reminders that the Orishas, the Iromole, as they were learning how to exist and doing their own thing, they made mistakes. Even Orunmila sometimes did not give the Ebo and did not follow the wisdom of Ifa. Nobody was perfect. So now I'm not looking to embody perfection. I'm looking to embody myself. That's the difference. I'm not looking to embody perfection in Ishiji. I'm not saying what would perfection do. I am looking to embody myself. I'm looking to embody myself. I'm looking to embrace the majesty, the fullness, the magic of who I am. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect. All I gotta do is be me. All I gotta do is be me. See myself the way that Oludumare imagined me. My Ipanri, for my folks that don't know what that, like that would be the part of your Ori that would be considered your higher self. It's the part of your Ori that is still in Uru. Chose my body. It picked it out. It sat with Obatala and said, I want my body to look like this. This is what my body was going to look like at the various stages of my life. And I'm very grateful that my Ipanri said, I'm giving you these and legs. You're going to get these, you're going to get some legs. And I'm like, thank you. I was appreciated. And I'm like, do we have to keep this? Like, is this a mandatory, or is there a version of my body molded by Obatala that has a little bit slimmer one, or this is migrated to this rear area? Like, is that possible? Is that in my destiny? Can we mold that? Can we get that molded for me? But it's like this here is the temple of your Ipanri. So again, when you have people talking about calling this just simply a meat suit, it is a temple. This is your aura is a temple. It is the temple of your Ipanri. It's a temple. So this whole like, well, I got this meat stuff. It's a temple. And that's why you can feel your intuitive gifts through it. It's a spiritual tool. It's a temple. It is a psychic vessel. It is a temple. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of dope. I think that's a really cool. That's our ancestors' relationship with God was so magical and beautiful and nurturing, and it just simply meant a lot to be able to like at least somewhat see and embrace that relationship in that way for myself. I really like it meant a lot to be able to embrace it in that way. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. So when I hear people say like, don't, this Orisha is going to be met, they're not. They're not. That's someone that's still looking for a bad guy. You're still looking for a bad guy. You're still looking for a bad guy. You don't need a bad guy. Not here. You don't need a bad guy. What you need is accountability. What you need is accountability. Alafia, what you need is accountability. There's no bad guy. There's no one like, oh, I'm going to trick you. No, there's no bad guy. What you need is accountability. You are going to make mistakes. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean you can't go back. Ashe, like it doesn't mean you can't like fix it. Doesn't mean you can't fix it. Hey, like the fact that our ancestors understood that after a few generations, some of us picked a destiny that sucked. Some of us picked a destiny that I don't like. So what can we do? We will start a tradition that when the baby is born, we gonna divine. Go ahead and nip any BS in the bud, right? Because they understood that there ain't much that you can't shift with MO and ritual. So they said, we're going to go ahead and start early. Go ahead, divine for the baby. So that if the baby, before leaving heaven, chose some tomfoolery and shenanigans, what we gonna do is see how much of this, and we gonna give it some info, and we gonna do some rituals, and we gonna like rearrange this destiny because we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Or if they picked a good one, okay, we gotta make sure we lock this in. We gonna lock this in so that we make sure little one gets all this good stuff in their life. We want to make sure they get all the good. We want them to have all the good. And as such, as us in the African American diaspora, as we are doing our own deconstruction work and coming to ATRs and things of that nature, you will find that when you learn this for yourself, like, so what you're saying is, this is what was taken from us. The opportunity for our parents to know so much about who we were meant to be, so that they knew how to take care of us, how to bring us up in a way that was going to be in alignment with not just our destiny, but the favorite destiny, our favorite outcome. Your destiny has a multitude of outcomes, but there is absolutely one that your Ori said, this here, this path right here is my favorite. It is my absolute favorite. This is the way that I most want to go. I want to be, this one here, this is that road paved in gold. I want to go down that one. It's got snacks. This road has snacks. This road has ease. This road ain't got no potholes. I'm trying to go down this road. And so when you get that information while they're children, while they're little, then you can say, okay, this is how I can help my child. This is how I can help them go down their road and keep them aligned, to keep them taken care of. So you learn what their taboos are. And understand it's not going to be perfect. Like, I can observe the taboos for my children just fine. But until I do enough or rework so that their dad listens, he may not listen. That means I have to extra fortify to offset that for them. Because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the taboos for them. I just got to make sure they're extra fortified in case other people. So like, for instance, my sons, both of my children have gone through at least receiving some of their orishas, and Obatala is one. You know what? Don't send my kids no black clothes. Respectfully. I love you. Don't send my kids no black clothes. Don't send my kids no black clothes. In fact, avoid dark colors in general. If you want to send blue, send like a sky blue or a regular blue. Don't send navy blue. Like, keep my kids light. Keep them light. Keep my children light. Keep them light. Because they can't wear that. My kids are Shango like me. And they very much are like their mother. Don't put them in red. Don't put them in it. Don't put them in it. Look, I just look as I'm saying, don't send them no red. Don't send them that either. Don't don't send them that either. No. Don't they there's a lot of Shango in my house. No. So, thunderclaps and lightning bolts all in the house. No. But I know this about them. Learning, and for my sons, it's been like, now it's Ifa. I can look at their Odus and see, but it's also, I looked at their birth chart and I looked at their numerology. I understand, like my youngest son, he sees me as his mommy, but also his sister. The sister part is very much unconscious, but he talks to me in that way. If you're sitting and just listen to how he speaks, he does it. He like, I'm mommy, but I'm like big sister. So he addresses me almost in that energy. Because I'm aware of it, I know not to take offense. He doesn't mean anything by it. That is how he sees me. Why? Because he has a moon in Scorpio in the third house. I'm just wondering why my baby moon is in Scorpio. What did I do? What am I going? Why is my baby's moon in Scorpio? Does he see me as unemotional? Do I need to cry more? Like, what do I need to do so my baby's moon? Why my baby moon is Scorpio? But I know this about my children. I know that they have a Mercury that is retrograde. Communication. Both of my sons have had speech therapy. One is still in speech therapy. Their Mercury is in retrograde. So even like when I am doing prayers to Eshu, I specifically ask for communication enhancement between me and my children so that they can communicate well. That is what Isheshe gave me. Like I've got this now, this set of tools available to me to not only bring about my own condition, but that of my children, that of my sons, and any future children that I need to have. Go ahead and put the universe on that. Like in my future children. And it doesn't have to, the beauty of it is, it doesn't have to be rigid. Both of my kids are on the spectrum. They are little boys. The idea of sitting still for too long is like, so I've had to come up with ways to do veneration with them that they can deal with, that they can deal with. And what's so cool is that it's happened enough to where every once in a while, especially my middle child, my 8-year old, will come through and I'm doing Oriki and he will like chime in. The other one will come through and I'm casting with the Ikin, and he knows that if I'm casting with my Ikin, he knows how to mark the Odu. He knows when to mark one or when to mark two. He knows how to mark Odu because they sit, I let them come through and experience it in the way that they need to experience it, and I know that they're getting the medicine. As of right now, car time is temple time. When I'm driving them to therapy, they have ABA therapy in the mornings. ABA therapy ride, that is temple time, and we do veneration in the car. And the way I have modified it is teaching them little bits and pieces that they can take in. Who is Oludumare? Who are the Orishas? What is Ori? Who is Shango? Who is Ogun? And giving it to them that way. Ashe, like I'm giving it to them that way. And then I'll circle back and I do it in repetition. Why? Because my kids are on the spectrum. I need to repeat things and give it to them in that way. And so then when I come back, like, who is the Orisha of such and such a thing? And then they can tell me, it's like, if I have to give an offering and my offering needs to go out in my yard to my offering tree. Ashe. Um, I'm gonna respond to that ritual part. And Ashe, I understanding that, I have a tree that I tend to like, that's where my offerings go. And so my 8-year-old also likes high praise. He's one for, he wants to praise. And so when I have something that has to go outside, I don't take it anymore. I've taught him how to do it. So I give it to him and I'll let him know, does he need to leave the plate or is the plate coming back in the house? Do he need to take the stuff off the plate or not? He pays attention and he walks out to the tree and he puts it down and he says, thank you for my blessings. And he comes back to the house and he's looking in the window for me. And so I stand in the window and I give him a thumbs up and he's so happy. He's just clapping. Like, I've been able to encourage them. The other one, he wants to mark. If I'm sitting there casting, especially, he either wants to throw about Wele or he wants to mark the Odu. And that is what, like, even in his initiation, when he, like, one of his Orishas, that's what came through real strong. That's gonna be my diviner. They both divine, but no, the little one, oh, that's gonna be the diviner. That is absolutely, he's gonna be the one. Because the first thing he did in his initiation is grab my Okwele and wanted to hold it. And like, he's like, Mommy, put this here. And I'm just like, and I'm just giving him the look like, what? And he's like, put this here. And so I'm like, oh, okay, son. Okay. And ever since, he's just been any of my divining tools outside of my cowrie shells, Ikin and my Okwele, he is like, no, I want to sit with that. I want to, like you want to hold it? Yeah. I'm like, just be gentle with it, sir. Because like I already got one seed that keep trying to come off. I'm not trying to buy a new Okwele right now. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. So don't be tossing me around like that. So embracing it to help them cultivate a relationship, because I was concerned. You grow up in an Abrahamic religion, and oh yeah, my sons and my cards. Psh, I found a box of my cards just open, sitting on my mat, and I'm just like, which one of y'all was doing the reading? I already knew which one it was, but like, which one of y'all was doing the reading? But cultivating that relationship with them I avoided it for a while because I didn't want to feel like I was pushing a religion on them. But it was obvious they were going to get called to it anyway. And when I asked what I could do to support them in their cognitive development, it was a religion. And I can see the difference, especially with my 8-year old, and I call him by his initiated name. And he responds differently than his birth name. There's nothing wrong with his birth name, but when he responds to his Ifa name, it's just a different energy. It's just different. It's literally different. So I'm just like, okay, alrighty then. I think Neurospicy talked about elaborate rituals, and without giving anything away, what you see on social media, it is not as much as that. Um, and I have an Elay full of Neurospices, and they may could probably tell you like it's not as elaborate as sometimes it seems on. Yeah, it's not as elaborate. I would say if you have time in the mornings, I've been doing my O'Shea every 4 days. So tomorrow morning I will be live. My goal is to do it around 8:30. So I'll be live at 8:30 doing my O'Shea. Tomorrow is O'Shea Ola, or commonly known to everybody else, O'Shea Ifa. And I chose that one because Ifa picked it for one. But it's also the longest one for me personally. So the way the Yoruba calendar is set up, there are certain divinities, certain orishas, certain Idomole that are honored on certain days, and it's a 4-day cycle. So it's like boom, 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 and then it repeats itself. So today is technically the first day of the week with Oshe Oni or Oshe Obatala, commonly known to everybody else. And so today's technically the first day. Today is today. It's the first day of the week. And then tomorrow would be Oshe Ola, which is tomorrow, and that is Oshe Ifa. And for that day, for me personally, it's the longest one because for me personally, a lot of my orishas are venerated on that day. It's a day of veneration for, of course, Orumila, so obvious. Then Eshu, and you venerate Eshu either way, but I am also an Eshu, so you're venerating Eshu. For me personally, because the way I started doing it, you technically today would be Egungun and then Egbe tomorrow, but I actually do both Egungun and Egbe on my Oshe Ola veneration, and they're cool with it, so I'm cool with it. So I got Egbe and Egungun on that day, and yes, I do. It's both for me. Oshun, Yemoja, Osayin, Oloku. So that's why I said it's the longest one, which is why it's the best one to do. Because someone who's trying to come into the tradition can see what it would look like when I'm doing veneration, and there might be multiple energies I'm venerating, and thus multiple energies I'm getting offerings to. You can actually see what that's like. And one of my goddaughters made a really valid point, especially me being Ianifa for the diaspora. When you're trying to pick a church, and you're trying to figure out what church you want to go to, you know what you end up doing? You go sit in one of their church services. And so being able to have something like that, I know in some other denominations of Orisha tradition, they might invite you to something like a Misa. I don't want to invite you to a mediumship circle and that be the first thing. I'd rather something just very simple. This is my Oshe. And this is the most extended version of my Oshe. So being able to see something like that, come to sit in Itadogun with us. So I'm doing Oshe on Oshe Ifa. Itadogun is always on Oshe Ifa. So my Itadogun is also available to join live. I do the prayers part first, let everybody sit through that, and then I keep Itadogun though on my Zoom. So people who want to be involved can join on Zoom. All you got to do is send me your email address. I'll add you to the calendar. Boom, you can come and sit in there. But I feel like someone who is concerned about ritual, that's a good way to see what ritual looks like. And then understanding, making the ritual yours. And for me personally, I feel like an elder worth their salt is giving you bones. They're not giving you dogma. What they're giving you are bones. And when they're giving you the bones, it's still up to you. So what veneration looks like when we're in community, it's always going to look like a certain way in community so that it is consistent and uniform in that vein. But your individual veneration process can look differently. Your individual veneration may not look the way mine does, because there's a good chance on a good day, when especially like on a good, especially venerating on a good Saturday, y'all lucky I'm doing veneration on my cell phone. Because if it wasn't on my cell phone, if I could get y'all all to just come to Zoom, what would happen is I'd likely be playing music. That's what likely would happen. But there's some music on my cell phone. I can't play the music. But likely I'll be playing music, because my Saturday veneration tends to be really, really relaxed. Like, I'm not necessarily singing Oriki. I might be playing, this song reminds me of this Orisha, and this song reminds me of that Orisha. Like, I'm just playing music. We're just going to sing today. If it's Orisha music, Ella Andal for the win. Ella Andal for the win. And that's what we singing. And that's how we venerate. I'm not doing traditional Oriki. I'm singing Ella Andal. That's what I'm going to do, and give you your offerings as you are, that you require. But I'm not just vibing, just hanging out and sitting. So I feel like that's going to be a good, that would be my suggestion for concern about a ritual, is to see ritual. If there other lineages that you can have those other opportunities with, I would do that. That way, and this is not to say, no, don't look at my lineage. It's to say, look at as many as you can. So that way it's not like like an impulse buy. Oh, I saw this one thing, I'm gonna get that. Making educated decisions about who you want to practice with. And if you want to practice in an elay at all. Some people, I got a few guys that are like that. All my godchildren outside of the kids are all women. I have all women that are, all adults are women, and then I have children, and the children are boys and girls. And but the men that come to me, they come get the medicine of Ifa, and understand that a good bit of them are Christian. Actually, I think all the men that come to me on a recurring basis to get something from me, all of them are actually Christian. All of them. If one is not, he hasn't committed to anything else. But all of them are actually Christian. There's one, he got an day. That's what came up. I did a divination for him, and it's like, you need, I said, you're not ready to come to Ifa yet, and I understand that, but you still need an day. And he's like, okay, so he bought an day from me. So he has an day that he wears that keeps him protected. He has an day. Another gentleman, he's like, I don't know, I'm still learning, but his business needs hand to be Ifa. So guess what? That's what we've done. And he will come and he'll sit with me sometimes. And he's gotten multiple Ori cleanses. Like, that's how the black men, that's how they engage. They may not be my godsons, but they come get this good medicine of Ifa the way that they need to get it. And when you're looking at the healing that's happening for people in relation to religion, because contrary to what the social medias will tell you, if you come to ATR, you are practicing a religion. No, when you're able to just order it, they're on my site. Oh, and I fixed the thing in my bio, and now there's a shop tab, so you can actually go in there, and it'll take you directly to my site, and I have put some of the things from my shop in it. So the Ilekes are actually in there. So you can just boop, boop, it'll take you right to the Ilekes on my shop. And I'm just like, oh, Linktree is showing out. Wait, okay, Linktree. I was having a real good time this morning, like adding stuff to my Linktree. So y'all, please go check out my Linktree and like check out how it's working, because I literally just added that on there. But getting exposure to the lineages, the elders, the god kids they have, is going to be a benefit, because then you can say, well, I like her, but you may not like the godchildren. Okay, that might impact whether or not you want to actually join the elect. You may want me to be your Ia, but I'm like, I don't want them to be my siblings. Then what do? You can still have a relationship with me that is not formal. You're one of my god kids. Like, you can, when I tell you my son is picking my lock right now to get into my room, and it's 4:44. Yes. Can I help you?
Yes. 6.
Aaron, take back. What do you want?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm sitting here. Sit with mommy.
What? What?
Mm-hmm.
Are you done yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
What?
a stream.
The least you could do is say Alafia.
Alafia.
Come put your tongue back in your mouth. Stop out. And then I say out. Why are you going to my door like what? You're still in here. Close my door.
Lock it.
I didn't say lock it, I said close it. Thanks. That is my 8-year-old. That is my 8-year-old doing what my 8-year-old does. Hello, YouTube. I can look like I don't always get the YouTube comments. Like Ashe, like him learning how to say Alafia caught me. He said it one day, like real random, like my son gonna speak Yoruba before he like gets like real grasp of English. That's gonna be real funny to me. He gonna be speaking Yoruba, and I'm like, you gonna throw some English in there? No, good. I'm good on that, homie. Okay, all right, whatever you like. It with being the mother of a child on the spectrum with a speech delay, he's not what I would say is nonverbal, but he definitely is not where communication at an 8-year-old level. He's not there. He's still definitely working through that. He is definitely stems, and he is a Gestalt language processor. But what I have watched him do in relation to Orisha and Ifa, in terms of how he's been able to incorporate that in his language. So it's thundering and lightning. And this is where you know your kids are paying attention. So I will go outside and say hi. I will greet Shango with Oya. And so he'll just randomly come to me, Shango. And I'm just like, yes, son, absolutely. I speak to trees. So he speaks to trees. I will hear him sometimes, and he'll be randomly playing an Oshun song. Um, we would ride to the lake in 2020, and my favorite, like my Ella Andal playlist, all the way to the lake. And so if I'm listening to one of those songs, he will say, go to the beach or the water, because that's the correlation. If I'm playing that song, his mind is beach and water. The Eshu Oriki, like him learning the call and response portion of that was crazy to me the first time he did it. Absolutely crazy to me, because I didn't teach it to him. He literally just picked it up, because he also has somewhat of an eidetic memory. So he just, enough hearing me do it, he picked it up. And I'm just like, okay, son. And so I see that light at the end of the tunnel for where he'll be on the other side and able to I'm going to be able to see like him really talking where everyone can understand him and things like that. But he'll sit there and like, I know both of my kids be channeling, like I know it. And so I'm going to go and I'm getting my Epo Pupa and some salt to give to Eshu before I got started on live. And he randomly comes up to me, he gives me a hug, he says, honey. Now, if we ate honey like that, it wouldn't have been, we don't, because I don't particularly care for the taste of honey. Yes, I'm an Oshun who does not particularly care for the taste of honey. I just don't. No. But I have honey in the house, and it's also not in the kitchen. It's not readily seen. It's in my shrine room. So for him to run up to me as I'm getting ready to prepare an offering and just say, honey, and I'm like, honey? He said, yes, honey. All right, son, I get it. Somebody wanted some honey, so I grabbed the honey. I listen. I listen to them. Pay attention. They're still in their own space of the internalized understanding of their relationship with God that they can't communicate to me, and then how I'm helping to shape that relationship. So when we talked about Oludumare in the car, the Oludumare is in everything. God is in everything. That means God is also inside of you. And so I was like, okay. And it's like the God inside of you, that is your Ori. And your Ori is divine. So Ori is divine. Oh, my Ori is divine. Yes. And because your Ori is divine, you are divine. So I am divine. I am divine. That's how I'm helping them to cultivate that relationship. And the more they understand in my own communication and that they can communicate to me, the more we can go into it. But I don't want them to ever grow up feeling like they are less than divine and that their relationship with God has to be one of fear, of pain, of God's going to be angry with me. Like, no. The only person you need to be, the only thing angry that you need to be worried about is me. I might get angry at you because I'm human and I'm flawed. But you know who's not? The divine. The divine is not going to be angry at you. And that is never going to be the way I'm going to teach them about their relationship with the Orishas or anyone else. Like, it's just not ever going to be that way. Like, we're not keeping that relation, not like they're not going to have that kind of relationship with God the way that I grew up with it. And I don't blame anybody for it outside of maybe slavery and colonization. Like, that's honest. Um, my goddaughter said to me once, we were talking, and she's like, in terms of Abrahamic religions, one in particular is what we were talking about. It said that we didn't inherit that religion as a gift. We inherited it as a consequence. And I was like, yo, we inherited it as a consequence. And in 2024, to still think that there are people that still think that their ancestors didn't have a relationship with God prior to slavery and colonization is mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing. They like you can't possibly still think that in 2024, and you do, because otherwise you wouldn't treat people who decided that they wanted to go and learn and study and embrace the religion that their ancestors were killed for practicing. They want to go and embrace that because the reason that they were killed for is because the ancestors of the ones that enslaved them understood its power. They understood. That's why they didn't want us doing it. It wasn't because it was bad. It's like, I don't want you to do it. I'm gonna go behind closed doors and do it. I don't want you to do it. There's even stories about divination being given to. So it wasn't that they thought it was evil. They didn't want us doing it. They didn't want us to continue to have access to that level of power to shapeshift reality. What? You want to let them have power to shapeshift reality? Absolutely not. Well, what person in power would want that? The first thing you do is separate them from that, because how can you keep them in check if they know they can shapeshift reality? Oh no, we can't keep that. But behind closed doors, you know what they're doing? They're going to go see a Babalawo. They're going to go sit with the Ianifa. They're going to go continue to do that work. While they're telling you not to honor the divine feminine, they are busy embodying the divine feminine behind closed doors so that they can continue to attract things that they want in their life. They're just telling you not to do it. They're telling you not to do it. It's not that they're not. They absolutely are. They're just not. They don't want you to do it. So I rambled on way like I was okay. My plan, look, it's sitting here, ready. It's hot. It's sitting here ready and it's hot. My plan was instead of delivering this sermon to y'all, I was going to divine for y'all today. But apparently I was not. So this is what I will do. Tomorrow, other than O'Shea, I cannot work. Ooh. Yeah, tomorrow Saturday. Tomorrow I can't work. I cannot work tomorrow because I'm not allowed to work on O'Shea E5. So tomorrow I cannot work. It is like after veneration. It is a lazy day. Plus, I'm going to be, my son's birthday was this week, and that's tomorrow. The parental units are coming by. I'm going to fry some foods and make some rice and gravy because apparently my son was definitely a geechee because that's all he wanted to do is eat rice and gravy every day. So, what I am going to do is say that if you feel so inclined and you're like, it's the beginning of the month, you want an August reading. You want a reading for August. Considering the Lionsgate portal is coming up, instead of using my link for the one-on-one for divination, Cash App or Venmo me 88. I will do a full 75-minute divination for the month of August for only $88. You got a Cash App or Venmo me, and then I will reach out to you to schedule time for me to do that for you. So it's a great time to get that. We got the Lionsgate portal. Mercury is about to be retrograde in 48 hours. It'll be stationed direct as retrograde. Then we have Neptune is in retrograde. There's a lot of retrograde energy plus the Lionsgate portal. It's a lot. It's a lot. And our ancestors understood that if those who stay ready ain't got to get ready. So getting divination at the beginning of the month about the month ahead, speaking as someone who divines every month for the month ahead and it goes back to look to see what came up. No, like for real, you should do that. And even if it's not with me, but I'm just saying like I'll do it for 88. I'll give you an hour and 15 minutes for $88 and give you that the good wisdom from E5 on what you need to do so that you can move throughout your month. Even if it doesn't come up in E-Ray, it will tell me what to do so that you can be in E-Ray. So I would say now is a good time to book it. So let's see. If you send it to me between now and Wednesday, and I'll do a post as a reminder, but everybody on this live, if you want a divination for the month of August and you send the payment between now and Wednesday of the $88, yep, they're both in the bio. They're actually both in my bio. They're both in my bio. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I will divine for the month of August for you so that you know what you need to do so that you have a good month. Know what you need to do. Okay, okay. Um, and it'll be Ekeen. My Ekeen divination is normally $50 more than my Ilpwale divination. I will do it with the Ekeen for you. So essentially, you're going to save $70 if you do it between now and Wednesday. You'll save $70 on getting a divination for the month. You can't beat that. You're going to get a $70 sale, and then I'll just first come first serve. I'll reach out and be like, "Hey, yo, what's your schedule? This is what I have available." And we will coordinate it. You do not have to have the divination during that time. You just got to book it by then. You just got to book it. So there we go. A sale. If you would like to come and observe O'Shea with me, I will be live on here. Asheo, you as well, darling. If you don't work tonight, we have Oriki class tonight. If you don't work tonight, we have Oriki class tonight. It's in my bio, hun. Magical butterflies, it's in my bio. If you go to the link in my bio, you'll see that a Venmo link and a Cash App link. They're both in there. If you don't see it, oh yeah, but we have a O'Shea tomorrow. I will be on here, but if you come to the one, you're welcome, sweetie. If you come to the one, if you send me your email address and you come to the one with Zoom, on Zoom, I'm taking prayer requests. So if you want to come to O'Shea, you're welcome to either join here or inbox me your email address and I will add you to the calendar invite for the Zoom link and you can hang out with us and have a more as close to in-person interaction with me via Zoom. I am looking forward to the day where I have it in person. No, you should have it on your calendar all you'll come for prayer. That's totally fine, darling. Come for prayer. Come for prayer. Not wallet challenged. No. Look at your calendar. You should still have it on there because I added you to the series. So you should be able to see that it's recurring every 4 days on your calendar. You should be able to see it like that. If you don't, just message me and let me know, and then I'll make sure I add you to the series. But everybody that I have added them to the series so that they can come every 4 days. So just message me if you don't see it. Okay. Just message me if you don't see it that way. Otherwise, you're welcome, sweetie. Otherwise, 5 minutes because my sitter's leaving, which means I got about a good 5 minutes before my kids really start to turn up. Anybody have any questions for me, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts before I boot, scoot, and boogie on out of here? Meow, 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 meow. Oh, the $55 one. Do you understand my answer? Does that answer your question? The one question one, book that one. And then I can answer the thing. If you sent me another email, then I got to see that one. But I know one I thought I responded to, but I think my app went a little wonky. But to the question about what they need to do, they just can book the one question divination for $55. Okay, then no, there's one I missed. Okay, I'll go look at it. I'll go check it as soon as I get off of here. Also, for those of you who are beginning your journey and you are looking for a place to begin, as I spoke about this whole session, Ori is to me, Ori is where you begin. And if you just want to learn more about what Ori is, the parts of Ori, how to start cultivating that relationship with Ori, how to start doing the healing work of your relationship with the Most High, I now have launched a course for that very thing. So I just launched an Ori class for that. You do not have, this is a self-study class. So the class itself is only $250. It probably should take you about 12 weeks to complete. You can pay for it in one payment, monthly payment, 2 monthly payments, or you could pay just $50 every 2 weeks. So I wanted to make it accessible for everyone to be able to get the class. The class has several videos for you to watch. It has journal prompts for you to do. It closes out with a 7-day ritual for you to do. So I really would suggest anybody that's looking for a place to begin, that's where I would begin. Start working with your Ori and building that relationship before you start anywhere else. Start cultivating the relationship with your Ori. What do you mean it's broken?
I used the black iPad.
Does your brother have the black iPad?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to wait your turn.
Can I sit 1 minute?
No, I'll come see what's going on when I come out. Yeah, always wait till she leaves to do that. Thank you for the roses, darling. So the link for the class is also in my bio in the shop. So if you go to the shop, you'll see it's probably the first thing that you'll see is the new Ori course program. If you have questions about it, feel free to inbox me. But apparently, because this one is asking me about an iPad, I must go see what is going on and why he's bothering me about an iPad and why they wait immediately till their aunt leaves to start doing this. But thank y'all so much for everything. Thank you for spending time with me for the live. Thank you for the likes and the gifts. And I will see y'all in the morning. Odabo. You want to say bye? Bye.
Set the timer on 1 minute.
No, because I don't know what you're setting the timer for. So if Jaheim just now get the iPad, because